Thank you, Madam Chair. If I could just get some clarification, Ms. Nicol or Mr. Jacques, you said the $37 billion impact on the GDP was with temporary foreign workers and student visa impact. Was that combined or is that segregated?
So the shock essentially that we were, showing here is everything that was brought forward in the immigration target plan that was presented in November. So permanent resident and all of temporary residents.
Okay, thank you. So I asked the question of what the economic impact was of the sudden change in the student visa program when officials were here earlier, and they said they couldn't answer the question, that they didn't have that data. But when did you do your study?
We published this in January 2025.
So officials of the department should have had this information? Fair enough. Look, Dr. Brunner said something that I have been looking for since the beginning of this study, that this is what happens when it's a domino effect of what happens without consultation. And after we've gone through all of this study, that's the sort of the phrase that I think is pertinent to where we are. But has the PBO, for example, costed out the impact of sudden changes, or as our Prime Minister likes to say, this rupture? It is a fundamental rupture in the way the immigration system has been changed suddenly, has had a huge impact on post-secondary institutions. But has the PBO calculated the cost to the federal government outside of just the immigration program, perhaps like CBSA, the cost to IRCC, on the impact, the long-term impact of the changes to this program? And has it been costed out at all?
We have done work in the past on various immigration policy changes. One of the reports that immediately comes to mind was instigated by the chair of the committee in 2018 with respect to irregular migration coming across the border. That touches on the point that you raised. And our office would obviously be open to undertaking similar work in the future upon a motion from the committee.
Good. Madam Chair, I think that would be a useful bit of information for us to have. When the government suddenly changed its direction on international students, it put a lot of colleges and post-secondary institutions into a serious financial situation. One of the things that happened in the 2023 economic statement was that the government changed the way post-secondary institutions are treated with respect to bankruptcy, insolvency, and responsibility to creditors. In essence, the federal government removed post-secondary institutions from the ability to seek bankruptcy protection or insolvency protection. It effectively means that governments, federal and provincial, are going to be responsible for the financial decline or catastrophic decline in some cases of some post-secondary institutions. Now, I'm aware that it's likely in the next couple of years several post-secondary institutions will become insolvent and will be seeking some type of creditor protection. Do you think it's, do you have any data on, or are you prepared to do any investigation on how this might impact the taxpayer?
Again, with a motion from the committee, we'd be happy to undertake the work or undertake the analysis and furnish it to the committee.
So you have no data thus far on.
I don't know that we don't have data. I know that I'm not familiar with any particular data sets that we have in the office right now because we haven't been asked to look at the issue. That said, off the top of my head, I can think of a couple of data sets that one might want to look at.
Can you give me an example?
So I think as a starting point, something I do on my evenings and weekends is look at the financial statements of universities and colleges across the province of Ontario, as well as the website of the province of Ontario and the Ministry of Higher Education and the policy framework they have with respect to intervening in colleges and universities and supporting them and eliminating their significant and potentially, dare I say it, unsustainable operating deficits. So those are very good information sources. But if you gave me more than 5 minutes, I could probably come up with the better terms of reference for you.
Well, thank you.
We've got 10 seconds left, so.
I'm fine, thank you.
You're good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to our witnesses for appearing before us. I have a few questions for the PBO first, for your office, if I may. Has the federal government asked you to complete an analysis on the cost to Canada's healthcare system that the excessive numbers of international students have caused?
No, they have not. We have not received that request.
Can you undertake to do that? Was that possible?
Yeah,
provide that to the committee?
Absolutely. With a request from the committee, we'd be happy to undertake the work.
Thank you. That would be helpful. Has the federal government asked you to complete an analysis on how many hours international students work in Canada? Have we done an analysis on that?
I think likely somebody who actually works for the government would be better placed to respond to that question. On our end, we're not part of the federal government per se, so I can't actually speak to what work they've done or haven't done.
My question was, have they asked you to?
Have they asked us? Excuse me. No, we have not received a request.
Okay. So again, if we needed that information, the process would be to ask you to do that through the committee, which I think would be very helpful, Madam Chair. Has the federal government asked you to complete any analysis on the cost to Canada's social and infrastructure services that these excessive numbers of international students have caused?
No. I would say that typically, because there are 360,000 people that work for the federal government, and there are 36 of us, as part of that 360,000 group, they have robust policy capacity in place, so typically they do their own work. And I think that's why they don't have to ask.
But you as the PBO, which is an independent resource, very valuable to Parliament, you have not been asked to provide that? Okay. Again, that's something we might be asking for with the committee's approval. Has the federal government asked you to complete an analysis on the number of housing units that are required to properly house these international students, the large number of international students that the federal government allowed into the country?
No.
They have not. Again, that's something that would be very useful to us, and one would think would be something that should be taken into consideration by government before making their policies. Has the federal government asked you to complete any estimate on how housing costs have increased, particularly in areas, we heard testimony earlier from before you were here, from previous witnesses, where the housing costs have gone up considerably, especially in areas where that house universities and colleges. So have you been asked by the government to do an analysis on the impact on housing costs with respect to the large number of international students the government has let in?
No. If I may offer a recommendation,
Sure.
like our starting point would be to have the committee actually issue a request to the relevant government departments to compel them to share any such studies that you've just referenced over the past couple of minutes with the committee. Yeah. And certainly on our end, that would be the first starting point, sending in an information request to the relevant government departments and seeing what work had already been done before you have people in our office replicating the work already done by the 360,000 highly qualified federal public servants.
No, I understand that. Thank you. We've had testimony here from officials and stuff, and that information was not available. It was not available for us. So that's why I thought I would ask you. But we will go through the right channels to make sure that the requests come through properly.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to create any barriers whatsoever.
No, I understand.
Our objective, we're here to support you.
Yes.
Our objective is to make sure that you receive the information as quickly as possible. Yeah. And we just want to cut through as much bureaucracy as possible. So
That's
if the
very
government's
clear.
already done the work, there's more power with the committee than with an agent of Parliament, and the departments are compelled to furnish you with the information that is currently sitting within the government department.
That's very clear. Thank you, Mr. Jacques. My next question is for Ms. Brunner. Thank you for your testimony today as well. Ms. Brunner, you have said that there is a mounting tension from, you called it immigration politics, that international students are being scapegoated to deflect attention from structural issues. It's a very powerful statement. Do you believe this Liberal government is scapegoating the excessive number of international students their policies led into Canada to cover their own failings in housing, healthcare, and jobs?
That is a good question. It seems that
Brief
the
answer.
current government. It seems that the current government has taken a different approach than the previous government has.
Thank you.